Abusia Mobi Akwaba. Young name saying the run up to the 2024 election, Bernard Techi born a year campaign or adopted around like over 15 constituencies out of the 15, like 13 away near. Na after the election, President Mahama winning appointment status ekoso. Na Bernard Techi been to obeki can be or face obeki can be radio so ni social media NDC supporters attacking. Since then, Bernard Techi on the low. I will be answering Nkebio for the past 3 months. In will be anti Bernard Techi Nkebio. Na wakasa afedi wasabe kasa. Na wabe kasa no means you'll be a moment and some obekasa your kafa President Mahama who was Asiedu Nketia and NDC ho. Moment and some Bernard Techi editor
and its effects on the lives of Ghanaians. Mr. Odu Techi, good evening to you.
Abed, very good evening to you and your production team and our viewers across the globe. Let me say a very good evening. Most importantly to the presidency of Ghana, the vice president who got back to the country a couple of days ago, and to all the appointees of the government, and most importantly to the economic management team. I wish them the very best of luck. And let me also use this opportunity to extend my greetings to the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, the political party that gave birth to the government. And at this juncture, I would love to single-handedly praise the leadership of the national chairman, the general secretary, the national women organizer, the youth organizer, for their leadership that is leading the party from strength to strength. I wish them the very best, and I pray that God grant them the spirit of unity, esprit de comradeship, so that the party can shepherd the government. If the government goes wrong, the party can bring the government in line. But don't forget that it is a party that gives birth to government, not vice versa. A government doesn't give birth to a party. Rather, a party gives birth to government. So when the party architecture is strong, it becomes the foundation for the government to build on. Let me also say every rank and file member of the NDC, expectations are high on this government. That is why any little policy program project or any task handle that the government introduces seem to receive an avalanche of public commentary. That is to tell you that the expectation of Ghanaians, the views on Ghanaians on this government in comparative to previous administration is way high. The standard Ghanaians have set for the current NDC government in the Fourth Republic, there is the highest ever. Don't forget, in as much as late former President Rawlings won in 92, 96 with such a very gargantuan margin, it never happened that under His Excellency Rawlings, the NDC could win an overwhelming two-thirds majority. Even in the year 1992, where the MPP boycotted the parliamentary elections, and you could see that they won convincingly. Most of if they had contested, they would have won more than, let's say, 40% or 30% of the entire seat in the parliament. But in 2024, history was made. Ghanaians gave the NDC an emphatic victory at parliamentary, almost 183, presidential 57%. This is unprecedented. To whom much is given, much is expected. Once Ghanaians have reposed in the NDC such an avowed level of confidence, that should also tell you the expectations of Ghanaians on the government on all metrics, fighting corruption, economic stability, and on the economic stability, whether micro or macro, is very high. And no government appointee should take this for granted. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Wow, Mr. Odu Techi, it seems you've come out all guns blazing and firing from all cylinders, and that is really good. And we, as promised, this promises to be, a very exciting and engaging show. Now, you talked about the performance of the party in the elections. And since coming into government, or since taking over governance, the party seemed to have enjoyed a lot of goodwill among, the Ghanaian populace. And the party seemed to be paying back that goodwill quite well to the Ghanaian populace. Like I said, in terms of the economy, we are seeing something that has, I doubt whether that has happened in the Fourth Republic, whereby in a very short time, within a matter of a few weeks, the currency has appreciated more than 20% against its foreign, currencies. Now, lots of people would say that it's too early for the party to take credit for this, because in 2017, when the economy seemed to be doing well, the NDC party that had lost power in 2016 said that it was as a result of the solid foundation that the party led under the IMF that was responsible for the subsequent economic stability in 2017. Is that not the same situation that we have today, whereby because of the solid foundation left behind by the MPP, the government seemed to be benefiting from it? Because really, 5 months is not enough time for any government to be able to lay a foundation to have such outcomes.
Well, if there is any foundation the MPP left, the scorecard was what happened on 7 December 2024. And let no one kid the MPP. They did not leave any commendable legacy. No. If the MPP had left a commendable legacy, it would have reflected in the vote of Ghanaians. Look, the easiest way to measure the legacy of a certain government is the outcome of their performance in government, in an election. If you want to measure how a government has performed, don't look far, don't look near, look within. When I hear some of the apparatchik communicators of the MPP throwing tantrums that the economic fortunes, the economic trajectory, the affirmative indicators we are seeing are taking it precedence from them, they got it wrong. And I'll tell you why. There is something you call financial scorecard. And financial scorecard at the individual level has to do with your balance sheet. So when you take every organization financial statement, it is made up of about 4 forms. With the balance sheet, the income statement, cash flow statement, and the explanatory note to be added. So when you read the explanatory note, it gives you an indication of the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, and whatever statement thereof in the balance, the financial statement of an organization. In similar vein, when it comes to a country, if you want to assess the financial standing of a country, you go straight to look at the macroeconomic indicators. And when you are then assessing the review the macroeconomic indicators, you can come down to the microeconomic indicators. What indicator did the MPP leave? Take inflation, take exchange rates, take balance of trade, take international reserve, take unemployment rates. If you do an aggregate of all the macroeconomic indicators, they were nose diving. So the MPP and the apparatchik cannot, must not, should not try to arrogate to themselves legacy they did not leave. The legacy the MPP left is found in the books of the International Monetary Fund, not from me. First in history, since 1992, and as an economist, I will not bastardize IMF. IMF is not a bad organization. It was rather the MPP that made people to believe that any government that rises to IMF is an incompetent government. I choose to disagree. And as an economist, there is something we call allocative inefficiency. Allocative inefficiency simply means that you can put together all the factors of production towards expecting good result. The market can still fail. But the MPP, in their quest for power in 2016, made everybody to believe that any government that jumps to the IMF for a bailout is a failed government. I don't think so. I don't think so because all member countries of the International Monetary Fund are bound to resort to the IMF for an assistance of a sort. And in any case, several triggers can give birth to a country going to the IMF. It can be lots of public trust in the government, liquidity support, and a host of other factors that can lead the government to the IMF. So, as an economist, I will not jump onto the fray and behave like the MPP and begin to bastardize and say that going to the IMF is bad. However, when two sick people go to the hospital, the level of description and prescription they get from the medical doctor determine their degree and the seriousness of their sickness. I repeat, when two sick people go to a medical doctor, physician, the prescription, diagnosis, and the antidote the medical practitioner wants to give to the two people will determine the seriousness of the sickness of those people. So, for example, if I go to Kwalebu Teaching Hospital with my ailment and I'm giving paracetamol, however, somebody or medical person is admitted intensive unit, oxygen. In between the two sick people, which one is more precarious?
Well, I mean, it would be the person in the IC.
Fantastic. So let me come back to Ghanaians and your viewers, comparing all the previous IMF the previous government have gone to, just supposing in pari passu with that of the MPP. In the MPP 18th IMF entry, we had a domestic debt exchange, external debt exchange program. That should tell you that if indeed the era of Rawlings, Atamos, and even the first tenure of His Excellency Mahama came with IMF, never did we ever recognize a situation whereby pensioners' funds were affected. No. Never did we ever hear of domestic debt exchange. No. Never did we ever come face to face with external debt exchange. It never happened. So the era of the MPP, IMF, and bailout brought to forth a very precarious situation, a very concomitant situation, and the net negative effect is that it led the economy into a junk status, simplicity. So when the MPP wants to take credit of the progressively affirmative macroeconomic indicators, they should stay off and give us a breathing space.
Well, we will try to give you the avenue on this platform to probably explain to us what have led to maybe the performance of the CD in particular. But before we get to that particular situation or janta, can you carry us along? Let us understand from now. Put back your economic hat and try to let us understand when we say that the currency of a country is appreciating against other currencies. What are we talking about? What does that mean?
Now, whilst I'm putting up my economic hats, I will also put on my economic hats as well. And we are going to have a very professional discourse, not partisan one, because we want to use this bigger platform to educate the people.
Yes.
Wherever my party and my government goes wrong, I will not be a coward to say it, but I'll say it in a more civil way. Sure. So I want to make it clear on your platform. I'm not here to bootlick anybody, no. You invited me here beyond as a National Networking Committee member, but as a professional. So sure. At any material moment, I will not throw my professionalism to the doors. Sure. I will not exchange my professionalism for any patents. I'm bound by code of ethics. And the code of ethics as an economist expect of me to be truthful to the data as I see it.
Sure.
You first ask an initial question that what has really resulted within the last more than 6 months, the positive indicator that we are seeing. Is it a rocket science? Is it a miracle? Is it a magic? The answer is none of the above. The answer is simply common sense.
Good. Before we go to the factors that that's resulting in the appreciation of the currency.
I'll come to the currency stability.
Yes. So let's start from somewhere.
I'm driving you. It's like I'm driving you from Kumasi to Accra. I can't jump all the way from Nkoko to Amasamai. I need to travel along the road.
Good.
So the MTTD will have a work to do.
Oh no, NTD is not invited in this discussion.
So let's travel along the road from Kumasi to Accra.
Good.
There is something we call ratio decidendi, and it simply means why did we arrive at where we are? Ratio decidendi. What reason occasioned our arrival at this premises? And the reasons cut across. But the first of the reason is that in 2024, Ghanaians were tired of the MPP government. That's factor number one. So even if the MPP had even won, if the MPP had broken the eights as their mantra was, we wouldn't have enjoyed the indicators as they are today. Because Ghanaians in their mind were not happy with the government. So Ghanaians would have transferred that misconception against the outgone MPP government to the new MPP government. However, the change in government brought a certain wind of euphoria. So what we are seeing within the first 6 months of the NDC government today is simply that Ghanaians were willing for change and the change came. So the NDC government today is riding at the back of a certain clarion call for change that they got. If the NDC government after 1 year begin to deviate, digress, or they become a standard deviation of the expectation Ghanaians had for the NDC, you will see the economic indicators nose diving. So Ghanaians have given the NDC a moratorium of less than 12 months. And they are living to see what the NDC government will lead the nation out to. However, within the first 6 months of the NDC government, Ghanaians have witnessed that the government is a listening one. Ghanaians have witnessed that the NDC government wants to run a lean government. And I will tell you one thing. Albert, when your child is spoiled, you don't pamper that child. You discipline that child.
Okay.
If you have a child and that child is so indisciplined, so vagabond, so difficult, a responsible parenting must not seek to pamper that child. A responsible parenting must be able to instill discipline in that child for him to be on track. How did the NDC government ensuring that discipline in governance? Number one, a lot of Ghanaians complain about the elephant size of the previous MPP government. Many people raise their voice. Civil society organization, traditional leadership, youth group, political activists, social activists, international experts. These people told the government in the face that you are running a balloon-sized government that is not needed. Look, take the population of China, take the population of India, take the population of Japan, take the population of UK, take the population of US, vis-a-vis their state ministers compared to that of Ghana under the previous MPP government. How on earth can any government with a country of less than 35 million population, you run a government with almost 123 ministers? It was unthinkable. Ghanaians raised their voice. Guess what the NDC government has done? The NDC government comes to being, and as we speak today, the government is being run on 56 ministers. So, clear-cutly, when you look at the variation of the two, every right-thinking investor, every right-thinking Ghanaian, whether home or abroad, when he compares the two governments, the conclusion will be that the current NDC government, as opposed to the SLMPP government, economically is running a lean government of austerity. That did not happen under the past government. Now let me come back home. As an economist, taxation is not bad. Taxation is not bad. And there are two things as a human being you cannot escape. Two things you cannot escape. Once you're a human being, you have to pay tax. And once you were created by God, you die. So death and taxation are inevitable. So long as you are a being created by God, you die. So long as you are a being under a government, you pay taxes. The bone of contention is not about taxation, but the bone of contention rests on two triggers. Number one, what kind of taxes are you imposing on the people? Is it a regressive tax, progressive tax, or proportional tax? In a country like Ghana, a government must seek to introduce more progressive and proportional taxes than regressive taxes. Under the former MPP government, they took delight in introducing regressive taxes. And what's a regressive tax? A regressive tax simply is an at-to-bottom tax. It is a tax that impoverishes the poor, but some way, somehow, it does not make much impact onto the rich. Let me give you a clear-cut example. When you take the SYE levy, which was placed on Momo transaction, let me take, for example, somebody like Despite, upon PAA KWESI, myself granting this interview. If I'm sending 2,000 Ghana cedi to somebody in my village, and I'm supposed to pay a Momo tax of, let's say, 30 Ghana cedi, it is nothing to me because I have the means to afford it. Despite has the means to afford it. PAA KWESI will have the means to afford it. Ministers can have the means to afford it. However, Albert, if the same 2,000 Ghana cedi is being sent by an old lady in my village to his son or daughter in the university, and that old lady is supposed to pay tax back and forth 60 Ghana cedi, because when the charge is withdrawn, it will come with a tax. That tax becomes regressive and a punishment onto that poor lady. So some of us from the economic background told the MPP that, looking at the nature of the yield levy, it is very regressive in nature. It is punishing the poor and rewarding the rich. So go the way of the Uganda format. The MPP government say, we will slap the tax onto the people. Guess what? When Ghanaians went into the pool in 2024, Ghanaians said that we don't want any at-to-bottom kind of taxation. The NDC government came to being, and in less than 4 months, scrapped this obnoxious yield levy regressive tax. So in that case, the old ladies in Ghana, the poor people in Ghana, who were complaining bitterly, the trade association, the business people, the commercial people in the country, who were bitter and angry about yield levy, when they saw the NDC government scrapping the yield levy, it became, a listening government has arrived. So you realize that when you put together the multiplicity of all these plenty factors, it has brought a certain level of public confidence in the people towards the government. So it is not a rocket science, neither is it a miracle that we are seeing the indicators in the positive. It is not surprising that the exchange rate relative to the currency of Ghana cedi, relative to the dollar, the pound sterling, and the euro, is gaining stability and the strength because the government we have today, I am not saying that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama government is an angelic government. I am not saying it's a perfect government. But when you put the government on the table in pari passu with the outgone administration, you realize that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has come for a singular reason, an image redemption therapy. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has come with an overdose of experience. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has come at the background that Ghanaians punished him very well in 2016. And for that matter, he wants to leave a legacy for the NDC in 2028, 2022, 2040, 2036. So you see, when the MPP want to make a case, tell them that they were not a listening government. Today, today, when expert opinions raise their voice against the government, let me tell you, I am not here to whitewash the government, but I'm telling you as it is. The NDC government today, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, under the finance minister, are more listening. However, there was one thing that particularly, personally, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy about the way and manner the fuel levy was introduced. The fuel levy is a progressive tax. However, the way and manner the finance minister went about it, personally from stakeholder engagement, he got it wrong. I believe that government must be for the people and for the people. So whatever concerns the people, whatever will affect the economic fortunes of the people, whatever will affect the person, the corporate budget of the people, whatever will affect the national budget of the people, don't take it as a personal decision. The finance minister should have created more avenue, should have created more room to engage stakeholders, civil society, the media, commercial partners, whatever it is, to seek their independent view about the introduction of the fuel levy. Because when you compare the fuel levy to the yield levy is a regressive tax, the fuel levy is a progressive tax. Regardless of its progressiveness, you still owe the people the duty of care to engage the citizenry to seek their view in your attempt to introduce a tax handle.